We are live. Hello and welcome to Mary, What Do You See? We are here tonight in prime time. We're giving this a little try. It's a little later than normal. The kids are in bed, so we don't need to watch our mouths like we ever
Yay!
do. We are the
God.
psychically powered show that helps you solve mysteries. Before I go on, let me clear up just a few things. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Do not confuse us with people who have more insight than the general public. Mary is a psychic medium, and she is merely the messenger. So if you don't like the message, take it up with spirit. Great. Now, that aside, let me introduce you to some of the people who are going to help us keep this show moving tonight. First of all, let me introduce my co-host, my amigo down here on the bottom right today. Brooke is with us as always. She's always in the chat, always joining us, and she's going to help us keep this moving along tonight. Say hello to Brooke. She's our PR dynamo. She's our beauty queen, our model, our makeup artist. Say hello, Brooke.
Hello, everyone. Excited to be here today. It's a fun topic. Well, not fun, but, intriguing.
Never really fun topics we cover.
No,
but,
none of them are
don't say
fun,
that.
really.
It's going to send the
Bad
wrong
choice of
message.
words.
But anyway, before I introduce to you our psychic talent, I want to first give to you a warm welcome to someone who's going to join us today to give us some help in the astrology department. She's been with us before, and she's been kind enough to join us again today. She's a Vedic astrologer and life coach. So if you want to know what the stars want you to be doing, she's the one you want to talk to. She's made a lot of correct predictions and called the COVID virus the 2020. So let's welcome today Astro Divi. Astro.
Astro, woo!
How are you, Astro?
So good and fun to be here. I love it when I get together with you guys because I know we'll just party, even though it's like not always the hottest topics, meaning like the most pleasant ones. But we do have a lot of things that we get out there and interesting information that we get to share. So
right.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think you can add to our topic today. I really appreciate you being here today, Astro. But we're going to get past the fluff. Let's get some serious folks here today. We have with us below me right now. We got her screen correct size today, but one of the top. Fuck it. She is the top psychic alive today until I'm proven otherwise. Fuck you, Tyler Henry. She is one of the police call when they don't know what to do, where to begin, and she is the one you call when the police aren't helping you. She's from a growing list of missing people, and she is with us today to help solve some mysteries. So let us give a warm welcome to Mary the Medium.
That's a hell of a
Yeah, I'm getting better at my hype intro, like the Mike Tyson guy. Time to crown the greatest psychic in the world. Heavyweight champion, psychic and astrologer.
I love it.
Wow. That's great. That's great.
Okay, yeah, I've taken my meds today. It's later than normal, so I've I'm a little sillier than normal, folks. So maybe we can do this prime time. We're gonna see how this feels out. This prime time to us, see how it does. But how do you like it, folks? How you doing out there? Talk to our PR person, Brooke. But we're gonna get on to the show if anybody doesn't mind that. I want to bring onto the stage our first case. This is the headline case we're going to talk about. This is the JonBenet Ramsey case. So let's take us back to 1990, Christmas Day. So Christmas morning, the Ramsey family, they wake up Christmas morning. These are the children, JonBenet Ramsey and Burke. They wake up to find their daughter missing and a long, strange ransom note left. After inviting half the neighborhood, they called the police, who continued to trample on the crime scene before Mr. Ramsey continues to the basement to find his daughter's body in the basement. This death has been ruled a homicide, and we want to kind of delve back into this case and see maybe who might have been responsible for this case.
Oh, where did he go?
Where'd you go, Joe?
Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. He disappeared though. Okay, so let's go back to JonBenet. Let's look at JonBenet Ramsey and Mary. First of all, Mary, what do you see on this one?
Well, I see a mother who, when I look into her eyes, I see like there's how can I say this nicely without getting millions of hate mail? Okay, so the mother was, let me lay out the facts. The mother was a beauty queen. I think she was trying to force the same thing on her gorgeous daughter, reliving it through her daughter. Mm-hmm. But the problem is when I look into the mother's eyes, especially this photo, because eyes never lie, her eyes right there, there was some serious mental illness going on with her. Serious, to the point where everything else was oblivion except for getting that daughter famous, which would have been her as she saw it. But I see a severe control, especially in this photo. Mastermind, severe control, some serious mental illness. When the marriage and everything started, I felt like there's a huge forward slash mark between her and her husband. Like everything solely revolved around her and the daughter. And I feel like others got left out, but she was like the control freak of the family. Okay. That's what spirit is showing me. I think she did suffer depression, some form of mental illness. And do you want me to do the spoiler alert now or later?
No, let's
talk
just,
to. I know we brought on Astro for a reason. Astro, we
Yeah,
have
wait.
insight into this. Looking at her,
Yeah.
looking at the chart of JonBenet. Is that what we looked at?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
what she does, to see what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had her on before to look at a few celebrities. It was eerie looking at, I think, Michael Jackson and Princess Diana. It was eerie to look at their birth chart and see what it predicted for their lives. So, what is JonBenet's birth chart? What does it say about what her life looked like?
Hi, just a second, guys, because there's some music background. Hold on 1 second.
Oh. So while she's doing that, this mother was a control maniac,
She comes off that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to Mary, just so the public knows, you and I really didn't have a deep discussion on the case at all.
We haven't talked.
The reason we didn't do that is so this way we could come from two different perspectives to show the audience, obviously, how what you're picking up, what I'm picking up is coming pretty much to the same place, but really to help people understand from, the spiritual world, but also understand from an astrological perspective, which is like a scientifically based art perspective, right?
Right.
So, Jeff, were you able to save those photos I sent you on the email? If not, it's no big deal.
I can. I'll dig them up. The photos.
They're in there. Yeah.
Okay. So, just let me just go in and explain to people what I saw. So when I was looking at Patricia's chart, something that really struck a chord with me is, one big thing that stood out to me was she had a stellium in the 8th house of Scorpio. She, according to, Vedic astrology, which uses the sidereal system, her ascendant is in Aries. And her 8th house, which is Scorpio, had Rahu, the North Node, conjunct Saturn, conjunct Moon, conjunct Venus. Now, what does this tell me about a person? Well, it tells me several different things. It tells me that, one, of course, she died of ovarian cancer, which I've seen in a lot of charts, people that have Rahu, Saturn conjunction or Saturn Moon conjunction in certain houses in the chart can attract and have, cancer and die from cancer. So that's a really interesting thing. The other thing is because she has Rahu, Saturn, Moon, and Venus. So Rahu is a North Node. It's a planet of illusions. It's the planet that makes you do things, have courage to do things that normally you would not do. But when it's conjunct Saturn, Saturn and Rahu are both malefic planets. Saturn is about control. It's restrictions. It's cold. It's hard. It's challenging, right? And it's conjunct the moon, and the moon is, our mind, our emotions. So when you have two malefic planets conjuncting your moon, there's bound to be some emotional issues there. But her moon and Venus are also exactly conjunct. So there's issues and with relationships, there's emotional issues with stability. There's also a tendency to want to do things in criminal manner. I mean, a lot of criminals, gangsters, people that also commit, murders, or to hire people to commit murders, will have a conjunction of malefic planets like that. Go to the one which is the picture of the mom, Jeff. There we go. So the right side of the photo where the mother's face, where Patricia's face, that's her birth chart. To the left is a chart which is the day of the homicide, murder of John Benet Ramsey. So one of the things that I look at when I want to see, does someone have the potential to kill? I mean, they have to be out of their mind, right? If they're going to murder someone, right? Or there has to be planetary alignments or aspects in the chart to show that somebody's capable of doing that. Well, I will say this, Patricia's 8th house is in the 7th from JonBenet Ramsey's, the daughter's house. That means that the relationship between the two is very heavy, very emotional, very conflicting. I mean, one of the things that I also picked up, interestingly, in the compatibility chart, Jeff, is there any way that you could run to the chart where it's the picture of Patricia and JonBenet to that chart? Because that's the one that will help me show the synastry. I think it's like down a few more or something like that.
I just have 4 of them at this point.
Okay, it's fine. So when you look at the mother and daughters, one thing is the mother's south node K2 sits over JonBenet's ascendant, which indicates a karmic connection, but also indicates that there is a connection through identity. So what we've learned thus far to prove this point is that the mother was trying to live through the daughter's life.
Yeah.
The mother, didn't achieve the success that she wanted to achieve in pageantry. And so she was hoping that from her experience, which K2 is life experience that we have, she wanted to impose it in her daughter, which was the ascendant, right? But what I also saw too was that Patricia's Pluto was squaring her daughter's ascendant. So there was these deep emotional power struggles between the mother and the daughter. Also, the mother's ascendant sat over. Oh, there you go. Perfect.
One way awesome, all right.
The mother's ascendant was sitting over JonBenet's Mars. So that also indicated a very aggressive relationship between the two. And with the Rahu, Saturn, Moon, Venus connection in Patricia's 8th house, it sits in JonBenet's 7th house, meaning that her relationships, to how she's learning about relationships, could be psychologically traumatizing through the mother, right? Because when you do synastry, you're putting one chart on top of the other. So there's these really heavy duty aspects. More so, the mother's Mars squares the daughter's Venus. So there could potentially, based on just these aspects alone, have been violent. There could have been violence, in that relationship. Mother could have smacked her around, pulled her hair, been abusive to her. You know what I mean? Even verbally abusive to her, because from the mother's ascendant, she has K2 in the 2nd house. A lot of people with K2 in the 2nd house, which is South Node, could be super sharp with their words, and it could cut them like a knife. It could feel very painful. And being that this girl was so young, I mean, I think she was only 6 years old when she passed away. That's psychologically traumatizing for a girl, and plus, when you look at JonBenet's chart, you look at her 4th house, which is the house of Leo. That's ruled by the sun. Sun is in JonBenet's 3rd house in the nakshatra of Ashlesha. Now, you can't see the nakshatra name, but actually, sun 19 degrees in Cancer is Ashlesha nakshatra. That means that she felt very suffocated by her mother. Her mother's ego was suffocating her. Her mother's willpower was suffocating her. Ashlesha's symbol is the serpent. And what do serpents do when they love somebody or care? They twine over somebody's body. So there's a sense of suffocation, sense of, feeling constricted. So when we want to look at JonBenet's chart and we want to see how she died, well, it's really interesting because she has 3 retrograde planets in her 8th house. She has Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde, Uranus retrograde, right? And And what's interesting to me is looking at Saturn's nakshatra is ruled by the sun. Neptune's nakshatra is ruled by Venus, and Uranus's nakshatra that it's in is ruled by Ketu. So we have 3 nakshatras there that we're looking at, and we also have the Lord of 8th house is Jupiter. So we're looking at the 3rd house. So we know that there's strangulation there. She's dying something of the neck, the throat, some strangulation. We also are looking at the fact that we have Saturn, Neptune, Uranus. So that means something happens suddenly. It's mysterious to the public because Neptune is mystery. But Neptune's also spirituality, it's arts, it's sensuality. It could also represent intimacy and sex, right? And it's in a sex house, right? So it's interesting to see that there was something sexual going on at the time of her death. And also interesting, Saturn retrograde is opposite her natal Venus. So there is some relationship to a female, there's some relationship to a woman with respect to death. Okay. So there's the combination of Jupiter, K2, and Sun, Cancer. Jupiter rules the 8th house and the 11th house, which is older sibling. 11th house is older sibling. 8th house is sex, right? We know that K2 is something to the physical body, something happening to the physical body, because it's it's Rahu's the north node, the head. K2 is the south node, the physical body, not the head, but the physical body. And then you have Sun, right? So we have Pushya. I know I'm getting too deep into it. I'm trying to keep it very simple. Let me keep it simple because I don't want to lose the audience. They're going to be like, what the F is she saying? Yeah. So there's involvement with the older brother. There's involvement with sex. There's involvement with the mother because Sun rules the mother, right? There's strangulation there. So we know that something had to have gone on with the older brother and with the mother. But let's also keep in mind, Saturn in the 8th house rules, in the 8th house, Saturn rules the 9th and 10th house, JonBenet's chart. So there's something also going on with father. So you have 3 people involved in her death: the brother, the mother, the father.
Oh.
But
trifecta.
A trifecta. So we want to know who actually killed her. Okay, so pull up the father's chart because I want to show the relationship between the father and the daughter. This gets super interesting. If you could do the father's, the one that has John and John. Oh, okay. So this is around the day that she dies. So the father, interestingly, okay, his ascendant is Jupiter. So this is what's so interesting. He has Jupiter, which is his 5th and 8th.
When we're talking about, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's fine. He has Jupiter, which rules his 5th and 8th house lord in the 1st. So he's very well protected, even through crazy challenges. He's very well protected. So that's why a lot of people are not seeing any fingers really being pointed to dad, in terms of evidence and stuff like that. Like he's
right.
Scot-free here. But does he have the potential to be aggressive, to do very messed up things? Well, yes, he has Uranus retrograde conjunct Mars retrograde in his 10th house. But just that alone, with opposition to the sun, means he's someone who could be very violent, someone who could also be sexually violent, someone who might have unusual sexual appetite. He also has a Rahu Pluto conjunction in his 12th house. 12th house, yes, is house of secret enemies, house of secrets, but it's also another sex house. So, he has like an unusual taste, for intimacy here. So here's where it gets really interesting. His Uranus and Mars conjuncts his daughter's ascendant. So he has an unusual interest in his daughter. And with Mars being retrograde there, doesn't necessarily, now this, I just want everybody to know, there has to be other things in the chart to determine this. Now, one conjunction, as one synastry aspect with the planets doesn't determine everything. You have to look at multiple things, right? So here's the multiple things that makes it really interesting here. So his Uranus and Mars sit over her ascendant. That shows an unusual sexual interest, aggressive interest in the daughter. Okay. His sun sits in her 7th house. So there could be a power struggle between the two of them. His Saturn retrograde sits in conjunct Venus, right? So there's almost like an unusual tie between the two in terms of relationship, right? So when I look also, when I look at like his 5th house, you know, 5th house shows is house of love, but your 5th house is also libido. So he has an interest, you know, in young people. So I look at his 7th house. What kind of people does he like? You know, well, his 7th house is ruled by Saturn. His natal Saturn is in the 11th house, and his 11th house, which is in Gemini. So he's attracted to a younger type of people.
Yeah.
Interestingly, his Saturn sits over his daughter's Venus. There's some attraction there. Her it's crazy. Her moon Rahu sits over his Ketu. So there's like a past life connection. So people have to understand what I'm about to say. Please try to understand this in the best possible perspective. Everyone in every family, you know, when you come together in families and friendships, colleagues, we all have some past life connections. Okay. And we all have some kind of karma. Karma could be really good karma, or it could be very negative karma, but we're trying to pay some kind of debt towards each other. And sometimes when there's unresolved issues or something didn't happen, you know, fairly in the past, or you missed an opportunity with someone to do something in the past, you reincarnate and you meet again. This father and daughter have a very interesting past life connection. So does the mother and daughter. So there's a lot of connections here, and there's some good karma, but there's also some not so good karma. The father had a very unusual attraction to his daughter because of past life relationship. It gets creepy. So the other thing that I want to say is it's very possible that you know, when people, oh my God, this is going to really freak people.
Just spit it out.
I'm going to spit it out.
Say it.
Sometimes when people go through a gruesome experience or is violated in some way, shape, or form,
right,
chances are the person that violated them, they were the victim in a past life by you. Okay.
Oh, by you.
It makes it hard to digest. For instance, people are like, oh, I would never murder anyone. I actually have had past life recalls where I've been murdered and I've killed other people. Do you understand? We all like could be hurting someone, and it could be painful for the person that we're hurting.
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
Time, you know, they could be our child. They could be our, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. And then there's the, you know, switching the tables around where you're not hurting the person. You are now the victim. You understand?
Yeah.
There has to be balance in the relationship with both parties are learning. So when these things happen, it's so unfortunate. And it sounds absolutely insane. But that's why many of us keep reincarnating back into the same, you know, into these relationships in different lives, because we're trying to clear some shit up. Like I said, it sounds really messed up, but unfortunately, this is the world that we live in. You know, so I feel that the father was sexually abused her. That's what I feel, because the father's Rahu and Pluto sat in JonBenet's 3rd house, which the sex houses in Vedic astrology is the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 12th. 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th, and 12th houses, right? There's a lot of different sex houses in a chart. So it's interesting to see that connection, that there was not so appropriate relationship. Now the brother. Let's talk about the brother. What do you think about the brother so far? Because we're not going to say who did what yet. But Mary, hi Aubrey, how are you?
Good. Hi,
how you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we were
let's talk about Burke, right? There's been a lot of talk about him, that he's strange and odd, right, Mary?
He is strange. He is strange and odd, and I do feel like I do feel like that he had, how shall we say, he was also molesting his sister.
Poor thing.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I got from Spirit.
So I got the same thing.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So I got that psychically, but I also saw that there was something off about the relationship between the two of them. So the whole thing about the paintbrush was being used on the sister.
Yeah, it was used to strangle her. It was a garrote. It was used. It was tied around a wire or something.
Yeah. So let's look at
the father, okay, had an affair. I don't know if that's been made public or not, but when I look at the father, my God, I see an Asian woman. Like I know he had one affair. Maybe there were other affairs, secret affairs. Later on, I'm not sure when the affair happened, but it looked to be like of an Asian descent when I look at him. And see, when I look at her eyes there, it's like power, money, power, money, power. My little girl is going to make me money and power. It's all about me. Me. Slap. You know, she abused and you know, this is what Spirit is showing me. Okay, guys, this is Spirit talking. Like I see shaking of JonBenet, shaking her. Okay. I see, like, you know, really Kurt, like you said, like grabbing her, hurting her.
Yeah.
And that's
abusive mentally and emotionally, verbally,
physically abused her. Yeah.
Oh, so our audience,
the mother.
Mr. Ramsey did have an affair on his first wife, and he admits this, says it was a fatal attraction experience. It was a huge regret. So yeah, he's definitely the type to have an affair. So it would be
yes.
Oh shit! So
so you're on par with that. But here's where it gets more interesting. So at the time of his daughter's death, he was going through what we call in Vedic astrology Sati Sati. He had Saturn and K2 conjuncting his moon, which is like two of a few malefic planets sitting on his moon. So one, he must have also been contemplating, and he probably was a little depressed, distressed, contemplating on leaving his wife or having an extramarital affair so he could deal with the relationship with his wife, right? Escaping just to try to deal with the wife. Also feeling very cold. Also feeling
he was introverted.
Yeah, he was introverted. Also feeling at the same time like he wasn't getting any enough sexual satisfaction.
Oh, he was none.
You know, at the time. Yeah. So he was definitely going through a few different things. But you know what I forgot to note before, which was interesting about the mother's chart, was that when I said before how she had Rahu, Saturn, Moon, and Venus conjunction. Well, her Moon and Venus in Jyeshta Nakshatra. I mean, this shows someone that has very inappropriate sexual desires. Inappropriate sexual desires, inappropriate.
I need a chart done on me.
Yeah,
I know. I'm interested too.
Really, like crazy stuff, right? But she's also a psychopath. I mean, the mom
she was
a psychopath.
Yes, she was.
She really was. And I think that one of the things that the father, John, was attracted to the mother was because she had these weird sexual fantasies and desires. And I think it was fun in the beginning till the daughter came around and the mother felt like, you know what, I'm going to live my life vicariously through my daughter. But let's talk about the son Burke, because you are right. There is something really off about him.
He
is validated.
He is okay. So I felt like he was left out. I think he developed some of the same psychosis that the mother had. Okay. Genetically inherited that. A little off. Was he did he have other problems? I think so. Developmental, maybe problems as a result. But then when you're looking at the attention, what attention did he get in the family? He got zippo, none. So if he took out his frustrations, it's almost, because you see me do this. So yeah, there's a little bit of autism in my background. There is ADHD in my background. Okay. And I feel like maybe there might have been some autism in his background. Hey, that's not a bad thing, guys. But I feel like like he never grew up. You see what I'm saying? Like his mentality stayed as a younger kid, even while his body was growing. I just feel like he beat her, he hit her, maybe even sexually molested her like a kid would, because something was very off with him.
So let's go.
Developmentally.
I'm gonna prove and validate everything you're saying, Mary. Let's go to Burke's chart.
Okay.
If you could, whenever Jeff could get there. Jeff.
Wake up, Jeff.
We're gonna get there.
Are you sleeping?
No, he's trying to find it. Honestly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's trying to find it.
I already sent him the text. I already sent that to him, Brooke. I'm like, Jeff.
So I'm going to start. So yeah, let me start talking about. So here's something really interesting. If you see to the right, it's Burke's birth chart. To the left is the transit that took place on the day of his sister's death. So he has Moon, Neptune, Uranus conjunction. Moon is our emotional mind, right? Neptune is like illusions, fantasies, not seeing the clear picture, rose-colored glasses. And then Uranus is like going out to the far left. You know what I mean? Like, you're breaking away from the norm. So when someone has a conjunction like that, it's very plausible that they'll have some emotional issues, that they'll have issues with respect to connecting with other people, with respect to feeling nurtured, feeling secure. They'll have difficulty in relating to other people emotionally. People will have these issues. Then if you look at his chart, Saturn sextiles his Mercury. So there's a slow development, right? Saturn is slow. It's restricting. Right. It's creating boundaries. Mercury is how his mind is thinking, his logical mind. So Saturn slows it down, making it challenging. And then he has Rahu, Mars in the 4th house from his moon. So I'm bringing up ascendant because I don't know what time he was actually born. But in Vedic astrology, if you don't know someone's birth time, you could always look from the moon and analyze the chart in that perspective. And it works just the same way. So he has Rahu, Mars. So he has a mom who's very unusual, unconventional, controlling. It also shows he has a lot of anxiety, stress at home. There could be abuse going on at home, but he has Jupiter in the 3rd house, which, shows, okay, for the most part, good, happy relationship with siblings, but it's in Purva Bhadrapada, which means it's a double-edged sword. There's something off in relationship with sibling. And he has Pluto sextiling his moon. So it also makes someone a bit bipolar because it's not like it's a wide orb sextile. I mean, it's within a 1 degree orb sextile, which could indicate that he might not just be, someone who has developmental issues and emotional issues, but someone who could potentially be a bit bipolar. Okay. Right. So he does have some issues. I personally believe intuitively that he was vaccine injured, and that's why he also has these developmental issues that weren't addressed, And I mean, look, a lot of children are vaccine injured. Parents don't know any better. Doctors refuse to be honest with patients and stuff. It's really unfortunate. But I believe that that was the case in his situation. Now, is he someone who could be prone to acting out and being violent? I want to say yes, because with Rahu Mars in the fourth house, it means that this person could be, even though mom is like this, that means that this person could get backed up into a wall. Meaning that he has, mental and emotional issues. He won't know how to handle his emotions in a controlled way, or in a controlled environment, so he could act out. And yes, these people could cause harm and injury. Now, he had K2 and Saturn in the fourth house, so there's probably a lot of shit going on at home during that time and during that transit. Also, Mercury was retrograde conjuncting his natal moon, giving a lot of nervous energy that day, making him feel super uncomfortable that day. In terms of his sexuality, I mean, so his eighth house moon, according to his chart, is ruled by the eighth house. So, he may not even have understood the difference. The difference that his behavior was inappropriate.
Right.
He may not have understood what's right versus what's wrong, is what I'm trying to say. And then he has Saturn, Venus in the 12th house from his moon. Saturn rules his second and third house. So yes, secrets with regards to family and younger sibling. And Venus rules, in his chart, the 6th and 11th house, so, and Venus is a good placement in the 12th house, but yes, it's in, Scorpio, which is also a sex sign. So there could have been inappropriate behavior with the siblings just based on looking at the overall chart. But do I think he killed her? Well, let's go to where it's JonBenet and Burke's chart to see if there was a possibility that he could have murdered her or been a part of it. So here's, it's a picture of like Burke and JonBenet, that slide.
Together.
So yeah, together. So here's what's really interesting when we look at that sibling dynamic between the two of them. There we go. So how did he feel about his sister? Well, it's interesting, just like the mother, his Mars squares her Venus. So he probably was also abusive to her, physically abusive, could have been very tough on her, not nice to her. But, for someone who's not mentally well, and is living in an abusive home with very difficult parents that have mental, emotional issues themselves, psychological issues themselves, this would have been like a learned behavior for him. He learned somewhere to be inappropriate in this way. Okay. So, could he have potentially, abused her in this way? Well, he was always very depressed or sad around her. His moon conjuncts her, Saturn conjuncts his moon. So he probably felt inadequate next to her. He may even have felt jealous. He may even have felt like he, couldn't shine. You know what I mean? But because of being around his sister, people would think of him in a more positive light because her Rahu sits on his sun. But that could also indicate, some maybe communicative battles between one another. You know what I mean? There could have been some power struggles there as well, because his sun is opposite her sun. So there's some power struggles in the relationship, which, listen, it's part of siblings. They could fight. They have, it's normal. It's a growing pain kind of thing. But do I think that he killed her? I want to say no. I don't think that he actually killed her. I do think that he behaved
he did not
appropriately with her. But do I think that he killed her? No, I don't see that.
No, he did not.
So, I can't validate that for the people. Let's see, do we think the father actually killed the daughter? It's possible. It's what I see is that there's abuse, and yes, he does shady things, and yes, he's a cheater. Yes, he is a manipulator. Yes, he is somebody who could have very well committed committed crimes, but did this mean that he actually killed her? There's a possibility that that happened. Okay, there's a possibility that that happened. I will say this so far, that he was involved in her death, but was he the one that actually murdered her?
No.
I want to say no. So why don't we share Mary? Mary did a recording with Spirit, and let's share what Spirit said to you, Mary.
Do you have that, Jeff, or do you want me to play it on my phone?
Spirit, who killed JonBenet Ramsey?
It's in the beginning, the very beginning, before I even start talking.
Yes, the Spirit just started saying it's a little challenging to hear, but it's definitely was said.
Okay.
Yeah. Mother, it says in the very beginning, like mother.
It was the mother.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to tell the audience. So Spirit told Mary it's the mother. I'm going to tell you what I thought actually went down, late night that Christmas Eve. What I picked up intuitively, psychically, and through the astrology. What happened was that the son was being inappropriate with the sister. There was there was some tension about Christmas. There was fights already happening. There was stress in the home. There was arguments in the home. She was that day that John Benet died. Let me tell you what I saw, which each of them were doing. So the brother that day was just focusing on other people, watching other people, stressed out as it is at home, probably feeling very neglected, and is just wanting attention, and just feeling a lot of energy. The father that day, what I picked up was he was thinking about friends, the home, life at home, not feeling his best, feeling upset, sad, frustrated. There could have been arguments at home, right? The mother, let me get to the mother.
He was drinking.
Yeah, drinking. I believe it. The mother that day, she was paranoid. She, I think, was also having a bit of a psychotic break.
Yeah.
And just feeling like she wasn't being heard. So what I felt what happened was that the brother was being inappropriate with the sister. I feel that the brother learned and picked up this behavior from his parents, hearing them in the bedroom, learning and maybe even watching them at some point, noticing that something was inappropriate between father and daughter, likely witnessing something that was inappropriate with father and daughter, and then him wanting to experiment and try things and explore his sister not wanting to do anything with him, them two getting into a fight. The father is going downstairs to see what's happening. Or no, the mother went downstairs to see what was happening, or went to some room to see what was happening, right? Because I feel like it took place somewhere in the home where it's not like not the busiest, like basement, attic, somewhere where it's like away from the usual rooms. So the mother comes and finds out what's going on, and the mother had a psychotic break and just flipped the F out because she was like, she couldn't stand that this was happening with her daughter. She knew what was going on with her daughter. She was upset what was going on with her daughter. She at the same time was jealous of her daughter because her daughter is getting the attention and affection that she's not getting from her husband. She's not getting positive love from her son because her son is ill. So the mother had an absolute psychotic break. And while witnessing what was going on between the son and daughter, the mother just flipped
Yeah.
out,
Snapped.
strangled the daughter because the daughter was upset, crying, emotional, and strangled her daughter to death. The father comes down, sees what's happening, and is like, what the F? And then she's like, you know what? I'm tired of you guys doing this to her, knows what was going on in the home. She felt that it was better for her daughter to be dead than to go through this anymore. So it was like, when I say mental psychotic breakdown, it was a crazy mental psychotic breakdown.
Right.
And the mother is the one that wrote the note. The father helped to make it look this way. And the son, obviously, I feel like I'll be honest with you, I think the son doesn't recall anything. I also feel like they took him to a hypnotist to forget a lot of these things, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like he doesn't recall much at all because it was so
traumatic.
Yeah, traumatic.
Also, and also not understanding what's going on. They probably could have even drugged him, but I feel like some type of like hypnosis overcame him,
Yeah. So I was looking for that because I have the video right here on my phone where it says, "Mother, I'll play it again." Spirit who killed. And so, spirit mother who killed John. Says mother, mother, mother in the very beginning before I start. Spirit knows what I'm going to ask before I ask.
Yeah, they always do. Yeah,
always do. So, and Spirit said mother.
So how insane is that? To finally know what happened, and it's crazy.
It makes a lot of sense because you and I did not talk before this. And for me to see all of this with the help of Spirit, and then for you to prove it in the astrological chart, I mean, it just shows you the power there.
There's a lot of stuff there, but it's just too long to go into. But it was piecing this all together was absolutely wild.
Yeah. I know.
It's so wild. And then to actually have the final picture painted was just even more mind blowing.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying that Patsy Ramsey was ultimately the person who was responsible for it. Patsy, she passed away in 2006 of ovarian cancer, so she's no longer
right. Yeah.
Look, Reverend Cal, just so you just think about this, right? She had ovarian cancer. That has to do with her ovaries, her womb, child. That's where children come from. So I believe that part of her death also, or her having cancer and dying from cancer, also was related to the guilt of actually murdering her daughter.
So, yeah.
Just think about it. Our fears, our emotions manifest in positive and negative ways. So living with that guilt and fear, for all those years, I mean, it killed her.
I also saw, like, the yard guy. There was a yard guy. Yeah. I saw Patsy and the yard guy together.
Oh, she was sleeping with the gardener?
Was she sleeping with the gardener? Look, I'm not trying to. Everybody makes mistakes in life.
That's pretty cliche for everybody, though.
That's a big boy, the gardener. Mistake.
Yeah.
But I saw, but Spirit said the mother killed JonBenet Ramsey on video, but I got the husband cheated. I got she probably had something with the gardener. That's what I got.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds like, what was that show? Desperate Housewives, the rich people, everyone's screwing somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible. Yeah.
Family's a cliche. It's too bad that the little girl had to die. She's an adorable little kid and probably could have grown up to be something great, but it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
It is very unfortunate.
Yeah,
but you know what?
The father still obviously then lives with guilt because he knows what happened.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know what else is interesting? is that I heard, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if you guys heard this too, but I heard that there was evidence that she was sexually abused via the autopsy.
Oh,
That
damn.
it wasn't just acute sexual abuse; it was chronic
Oh, my
sexual.
I
God.
think there was acute. I think there was evidence of acute bruising or something. I don't know that there was chronic evidence.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I heard. I didn't.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't have enough time, but
Terrible. Yeah.
I mean, I do see that she was sexually abused. You know.
Yeah, I do read One Solved Mystery is not really jamming with our analysis here. So apparently we didn't make a fan, but yes, this is what Spirit's saying. So we take it up with Spirit. Sorry, but yeah, I'll go through this and see if there's any nuggets of information we can take out of this one. But that's what Spirit's saying. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they said on video. I came out and asked them. They said mother.
Mother.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was playing that song by Danzig.
Yeah. I mean, granted, a lot of people aren't going to like to hear that, but you know.
Yeah, but that's what Spirit says, so that's what we gotta go with, right?
I don't, you know, I'll be honest with you. I don't feel that her mother. I don't feel that her mother wanted to kill her. You know, I think that, you know, there was definitely jealousy. You know, she had for the daughter.
Moment.
You know, but I feel though, I feel it was a heat of the moment situation.
Yeah,
she was
total
like
anger
of this happening, and she
totally appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you. Your information have not been ignoring you, so just wanted to drop that.
Thanks, Unsolved Mystery.
We do have a couple more cases I want to get to, so
yeah,
you just came here for the JonBenet. Go ahead and tune out, but I've got a few more to talk about. Astro, you're welcome to stick around. We've got a few more cases I want to get to.
I got another 10 minutes.
We always have listen to the audience, and I got a few cases audience that people have thrown at us, and then one that Mary wanted to try out. So I got 3 cases, a couple out of England. We seem to get English cases quite often.
I seem to, yeah. I don't know.
I got a case. Here's one out of England. This is Nicola Bulley. She was a 45-year-old woman from Lancashire.
That's not Nicola.
That's not Nicola?
No, that's not Nicola.
Oh, I got the wrong one. Is that Nicola?
That's Nicola. Yeah.
Nicola.
Or Nicola.
Oh, okay. So I got the slides out. Okay, so this is 13-year-old Lindsay Rymer. That's correct?
Right.
Okay. Lindsay Rymer disappeared from the evening. She looks a little young to be 45. November 7th, this is from 1994, from Hebden Bridge, West Yorkshire. Her body was found a year later in 95 in the Rochdale Canal outside of town. It was a mile upstream, so it did not drift there from where she was, and she had been strangled. So police have never been able to positively identify a suspect. They believe they have his DNA profile, but they've tried to match it to some known serial killers and have not matched any killer, so it's still unsolved. Mary, what do you see?
I see that a guy got her, abducted her, and probably raped her. But a guy did it. An older man did it. And I thought they had this older man. If he has not been found, he will be found very soon.
They did have one guy in custody he was late 60s, but his DNA didn't match the DNA at the scene.
Right. No, this was an older man that snagged her, older, like in the 50s, like he was 50. Snagged her, sexually assaulted her, threw her in the river, killed her. Yeah. Yep. That's what happened.
I feel like there's going to be a breakthrough in the case.
Yes,
it's going to happen.
I
feel that.
All right, is her killer still alive? That's one question.
He's still alive.
And is he in prison or is he free today?
He's free.
He's free. He's definitely free.
Was this his only crime, or is he?
No, it's not his only crime.
No, it's not.
There's other people.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a currently a free.
Yeah, he's a free guy.
Yeah.
He also has a family of his own.
Right. And he hangs out by these docks.
Yeah.
He hangs out by the water by these docks.
Yeah. He likes water. He likes fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's Hebden Bridge is a hangout for him still today. I mean, this was 40 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know, but he likes to walk down by the docks.
And he'd be a pretty old man if he was an old man in the 90s. I mean, 30 years ago. So he's very old by this point.
Yeah, so he'd be what, 90? No, he was. So when he did this, what I'm seeing is he's about 50 now. So he was.
Oh, so he's younger. He was in his 20s.
He was younger. Yeah, younger when he did this. So he's in his 50s now.
But he's still got victims.
Early 60s.
I don't know if this is the guy, but what I saw was a man with like straight hair, not like dirty to light brown, straight hair up to like the neck, shoulders around the time of the murder. He also had like this mole. He had some mole and warts on his face that stood out, but I think like a mole here or somewhere like in the face. He's like stocky back then, you know. He wasn't like someone who was super fit, you know. He had a little, you know, a little weight on him. Fair skinned. He was fair skinned. Fair to
red hair.
It could be reddish. It wasn't it was light. It wasn't like a dark brown. It would have been like a light brown, or it could have definitely been in the red hair family.
Right.
Straight around the time of her death.
Yeah.
But he has a family of his own.
He's in his late 55.
He has two sons. He has two sons. And I feel like one of his sons are like that too, similar to the father, you know, weird nature. But I got that he likes fishing, boating, activities by the water.
Canals,
Canals.
No, maybe it's enough details. I mean, definitely still be looking for him because he's still out there 30 years later and still active, maybe still capable of hurting people. So let's if you look for a guy with a big nasty mole or wart in his face, right? That's what we're looking for. So
and his head is like more it's kind of like square looking to me.
A square head. SpongeBob. Right. So let's talk about Nicola. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Nicola Bulley.
Okay, so
this is only recently. This is a 45-year-old woman from Lancashire, UK. Reported missing at January 27th of this year. Her body was found a few weeks later, February 19th. She had dropped off her children that morning, was out walking her dog while taking a work call. Her phone was sitting there, still connected to the call on a park bench. Her dog was there, and she was gone. She was found a few weeks later, had drowned. Police ruled it an accident, said she went swimming and
not an accident.
What do you see?
So let's see involved in that one, a male and a female.
Yeah. So I got called as soon as this woman went missing. I got called from England for this. Okay. And I was driving, so I had to pull over. I saw the name Willow. I thought it was a willow tree at first, but I saw willow. I saw a bench. I saw the tree. I saw the water. And then I saw her sopping wet, freezing, ice cold. I saw her like plain as day. Her hair was just dripping water. And I said, she's in the water. She's next to a tree, I think is a willow tree, but there's a tree there. There's a park bench. And the authorities have not gone far enough. She's telling me to go further down. And sure enough, they found her there. And I described the perpetrator. The perpetrator had brown hair, a brown beard. Okay. And if you get a picture up of her partner, Spirit is pointing the fingers at him.
Her romantic partner, huh?
Yep, because I felt like he was super controlling. I felt like there was some domestic violence there. Yep. She was drinking heavily because of him. Okay, because of his controlling attitude. And I just feel like he came up behind her. He grabbed her by the arm, the back of the arm, and she ended up in the water.
Okay, I got a picture of Paul.
Willow, and then Willow, seeing the name Willow. And I'm telling this to the people in England as before they even found her body. I saw where she was.
I'm seeing it
All right, I'm
too.
gonna put a picture of
Lover
her
involved,
man.
jealousy, alcohol.
This is her man, Paul.
Yep.
Paul Ansel. That's the guy you saw.
Yes.
Okay, that's her partner.
Yep.
So why? So he's the one that dragged her into the water. Did he drown her?
Grabbed her by the back of the. I think she was going to leave him. They were having problems.
Yeah,
grabbed her by the back of the arm and just. I mean, I thought she had a broken arm with how hard he grabbed her by the back of the arm and threw her. I mean, just caught her totally off guard. So yeah, I feel like he is responsible.
Okay, Paul, that's the guy.
At least that's what Spirit has shown me. Spirit showed me this man because I identified him when I was shown a picture as harming her.
That's the suspect here. Okay. All right, I got one more quick one. This is actually a bit of a curveball here, not a damsel in distress as normal, but let me pull up here. So I got on the stage. This is a man named John Barnett. He's man worked in quality control for aerospace manufacturer Boeing for 32 years. He's one of several employees who began to go public about safety problems at Boeing. He alleged that they retaliated against him while he was in a hotel, giving a deposition related to a lawsuit for whistleblower protection. He was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Mary, what do you see?
He was murdered.
100%.
It was not a self-inflicted gunshot. Boeing killed him.
100%.
I feel like he was also being poisoned. Because
they were trying to poison him through, like, it looked like through room service or something. You know? He was 100% murdered. It was absolutely a hit on him. The people of Boeing, the people at the very top, did orchestrate that hit.
Yes,
but
they
did. It also happened because of the people that Boeing is affiliated with. So it wasn't their decision alone. This decision also had to do with another government entity. I'll be honest with you.
Defense Department or the CIA or somebody?
Let's see here.
Probably defense.
Yeah, probably Department of Defense. Department of Transportation.
Oh, okay. I think it was civilian crafts, not necessarily the defense aerospace side that was having problems. Okay. So I know that he had blamed a civilian crash on some metal chunks that they weren't catching or things. I remember reading briefly about what the details were, but yes, you're saying that John is a victim of murder, some foul play.
It is foul play, 100%.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's what Spirit says.
Well, if we haven't gotten our names on enough lists, that'll probably help. We're going after Boeing and the DoD now after the NSA and the CIA 2 weeks ago. So, yeah. thanks, viewers. Viewers are really sending us down some great paths.
FYI to the audience or anyone's watching, this is for entertainment purposes.
Yes.
We don't have any actual evidence of
and none of us are depressed at all. Not one of us is depressed or thinking of doing anything bad to ourselves. So if anybody is
I'm not, guys.
I have a wonderful
we have to finish our shows with disclaimers as well as beginning it with disclaimers. Just to make sure.
I think we'll do that as a disclaimer in the beginning of every video that we do, just as an FYI.
A little bit. Yeah, I need to start saying that also. So I will add that in next week to say, hey, none of us are feeling depressed whatsoever. We're all happy and cheery, and no one's thinking about John Barnetting or Gary Webbing ourselves. So Oh boy. All right, we've kind of come to the end of it. You got any updates or anybody have anything to talk about before we get out of here? I know Astro had limited time today.
Do we have any updates about what's going on? Yeah, people, you got to watch your monies. Second half of July and August. There's some things that are going on in the economic and financial sector, globally, but also, of course, here in the U.S. So don't do any crazy investments, don't make any big investments, don't make any big purchases. I also feel that we're going to start seeing a bigger issue here in the United States. And I also do feel that people are going to start, I hate to use the word retaliating, but I do feel like we're getting to that point, where people are going to start speaking up more, fighting back more. And there is going to be an issue, a big significant issue between U.S. and China. I know there's already one between the U.S. and Iran, but I'll tell you something, even though Iran's president got taken out, I do feel that the U.S. had involvement in that. I have no proof of that whatsoever. But I will say this, if U.S. was to go to war with Iran, I don't see them winning. Iran has a really good astrological chart. They have some really strong, powerful planets, planetary placements. So at this time, that's probably why they took the president out, to kind of change up the game and the power play. But ultimately, they gotta watch out. But I do see an issue developing, a really big one between China and U.S. and
Taiwan.
Yeah, and Taiwan. And I think it's going to be because of, China taking over Taiwan. I had a vision back in 2009.
Yeah.
And I saw like the drop of these like big drops of water coming down, like 8 of them coming down. And then I saw what looked to me like the Chinese attacking the U.S., but the U.S. not fighting back. And then I saw that at that time, Russia and China were friends, but Russia intervened to save the U.S., believe it or not.
Wow.
So, that has yet to play out. It wouldn't surprise me if it develops in that way, but I also do see that there's issues here in the U.S. and, where they talk about, these people being migrants. They're not, they're invaders. These are all military aged men, they're not like fat slobs coming in, their majority is like 99% men coming into the States. So, that's obviously happening to weaken us from the inside. But it's major stuff going on here in the U.S. and it's slow. But my advice to everybody is to really be high vibrational. Think of positive outcomes. Think think about the world being at peace. Think about you being happy, relationship wise, happy, career wise, being happy, monetarily wise, being happy, healthy, happy. Think your best thoughts. That's really the best way to overcome all this negativity and to really get us back on track where we need to be, as a nation. So this way we could have more lives saved and, obviously we could overthrow all the corruption, but we have to stay in a positive mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any nation.
Will you tell her I said hey? Hey, Anne.
Hey, Anne.
I'll do. Anne's a sweet lady, friend of mine. Do a shout out to Lucinda, who got out of the hospital, is an incredible artist. Oh my God. This person can paint a Rembrandt, a Da Vinci in 2 hours, guys. And so I'm doing a shout out to her and to all my friends. You know who you are. I love you. That's it.
All right.
Got her shout outs, and then the Astros got her warnings. Don't do anything stupid in July or August. Watch your money. Right.
Watch your money, man. Watch your money.
Right. Well, I appreciate Astro for joining us today, and of course, Mary is always appreciated. Appreciate you, Aubrey and Brooke. Brooke ducked out a little early for us today, but I really appreciate everyone joining us, and you, the audience. We appreciate you. Hey, anybody has any cases for us, throw it out here in the chat. Throw it out here in the comments. I will watch it. I'll look for it, and if you especially have a case that's close to you, we'd love to help you find a loved one. But always looking for our audience to help us out there. Thank you, BJG, for the shout out. Always interesting. Cool. All right. Appreciate everybody for joining us. That's enough for us tonight, but we'll be back in a week. We'll talk about prime time, but we'll throw it out there what time it's going to be. See you all in a week.
Thank you, guys.
Have an awesome evening.
Bye. Bye. Bye.